So today we're really diving into a story about irregular migration.
Okay, yeah.
And we've got this firsthand account
Right.
from this 25-year-old photographer,
Uh-huh.
and he's from Tokat, Turkey.
Okay.
And he decided to take this chance to come to the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, it really illustrates the struggles that people go through.
Yeah, and he, wasn't like some lone wolf deciding to do this. What's so interesting is he heard it from a friend's father
Oh, wow.
who was already in the U.S.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
almost like it's, your buddy's dad is telling you about this great restaurant or something. It's like this weird...
Yeah, yeah. Makes it seem a little bit easier. Yeah, a little less risky.
You're more attainable.
Right.
Right.
When it's someone you trust telling you about it,
Yeah.
even though obviously it's incredibly risky,
Yeah.
as we know.
And then there's this network.
Right.
It's like, boom.
Yeah.
This network appears and says, all right, $10,000.
Wow.
We'll take you. We'll get you there. Uh-huh.
And if you get caught, it's like this weird guarantee. If you get caught,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll try again
It's like a money bag.
or something. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like a weird
yeah.
travel package
Oh,
for...
yeah, it's like a package deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And $10,000, I mean, this is like, we're talking about potentially
Right.
the
That's
testing off.
Yeah, that's life savings for a lot of people. I mean, that's their entire future.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really shows you how desperate some people are to leave.
And so they fly to Mexico City,
Okay.
which he talks about, being on that flight
Yeah.
and knowing, like, I'm part of this.
Wow.
Clandestine.
Like you're a criminal.
Yeah. And knowing there's other people
Yeah.
on this plane that are part of it.
Wow. And that layover.
He talks about the layover being specifically to,
That's got to be so nerve-wracking.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
like to evade or to throw off.
Authorities? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
So-
just constant stress.
It's like a whole...
I can't even imagine.
And then they get to the Mexico City airport, and he's talking about trying to act all cool and casual.
Right, of course.
Because their hearts are like
Just pounding.
pounding out of their chests.
Yeah.
And they even talk about like, which line should we go in?
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, this one looks faster.
Like, it matters, right?
Right.
Like, that's going
And
to
then
change anything.
He talks about getting waved through
Wow.
by the immigration officer and that feeling of,
Oh, my God.
oh,
Relief.
what's next?
Yeah, what's next?
Right.
It's like a small victory, but a very small victory in the grand scheme of things.
It's like stepping out of that airport
Right.
into another level of chaos.
Oh, I bet.
He's talking about all these taxi drivers,
Yeah.
swarming them
Sure.
and targeting Turkish migrants,
Of course.
jacking up the prices.
Yeah.
And it's just like this harsh reminder that,
The exploitation
yeah,
is just beginning.
it's not ending at the border.
Yeah, exactly. It's just beginning. Yeah.
And it's not just, the scams.
Yeah.
He talks about paying a $3,500 bribe to a police officer who's like, yeah, it's the price of crossing went up.
Oh.
Like, so casual about it.
Wow.
Like, no big deal.
It's just the price of business.
Yeah, and it's like this chilling reminder that this is...
It's just built into the system.
Yeah, it's the cost of looking the other way.
Well,
That's just...
Yeah, it's just wild that that is just part of the system, that like that's...
It's like the economics of it
Yeah.
are so
Wow.
intertwined with, like,
Yeah.
law enforcement.
Law enforcement and the economics of it
Yeah.
and the desperation. I mean, people, when they're put in these really, really tough situations,
Yeah.
they make decisions that they wouldn't otherwise make.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
Yeah. It's like you're climbing this mountain of hope.
Right.
And then, bam, you get sent back.
Oh, absolutely. It's like hitting a brick wall.
It's, like you said, the authorities are always adapting.
Mm-hmm. Always trying to stay ahead.
And, in this case, they get sent back. And what do? They try again, but by land this time.
It's incredible, that level of determination.
He talks about this bribe at the Juarez border.
Oh, God.
Hiding the cash in his vest.
Whoa.
Cameras everywhere.
It's like something out of a movie.
I know, right? But this is real life for him.
Absolutely, and the stakes are so high.
Then running uphill, crossing a river.
You can't even imagine the fear.
And through all of this, trying to avoid getting caught.
It's a testament to the human spirit, that even in the face of such danger,
It makes you think, what would drive someone to do this?
desperation, I think,
Yeah.
when you feel like you have no other choice.
And the irony is when they finally encounter U.S. Border Patrol, he feels relief.
Really?
Yeah, he even says they treated him well.
Wow, that's a lot to process.
But of course, the relief is short-lived because then they're detained.
Right, because the journey's not over.
It's like going from one system to another.
Exactly. And this new system can be just as daunting.
That legal process.
It can be a maze, especially for someone who doesn't speak the language or understand their rights.
He talks about the detention center, the feeling of being completely lost.
That sense of powerlessness.
And then the bond hearing, which I'm sure a lot of people don't even know about.
Right. It's this crucial step.
Can you explain what it is?
Sure. It's basically a chance for a judge to decide if someone can be released from detention while they wait for their case to be heard.
So they might not even be deported, but they could be stuck in detention for who knows how long.
Exactly. It can be months, even years.
He paints a pretty grim picture of that whole experience.
It's a system that can be dehumanizing.
Not being able to afford a lawyer, not knowing where to turn.
It creates this vulnerability, and unfortunately, that's where exploitation can happen.
And that's where the smuggling network pops up again, right?
Yeah, it's like they never really left.
Like vultures, I was thinking.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Offering to help him find a sponsor for court.
Of course, for a price.
Always a price, and not a small one either.
Right, it just adds to the debt, the feeling of being trapped.
He talks about selling his home, his family taking out loans back in Turkey.
Wow, that's a huge burden to carry.
It really highlights the financial risk people take for a chance at a better life.
It's not just about getting there, it's about rebuilding your life, often from scratch.
And the emotional toll, the constant worry.
Absolutely, that takes a toll on your mental health.
He's very honest about that, the impact it's had on him.
It's important for people to hear that, to understand the real cost of this journey.
And his advice to others. This is not your path.
Wow.
He doesn't sugarcoat it at all.
He's seen firsthand how difficult it is.
It makes you realize, behind all the numbers, the headlines, these are real people's lives.
Each with their own story, their own reasons for taking this risk.
And it makes you question, what would you do in that situation?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's a story that really makes you think, makes you see the world a little differently.
Definitely.
And that's what we're all about here, right? Taking a deep dive into these complex issues, these human stories.
Absolutely, because understanding is the first step towards finding solutions.
Well said. I think that's a good place to leave it for today.